everybody. My name is Jonathan Matamoros, President Founder True Television, and we have some special guests here today. We have Jeremy Carroll and Evy Baehr Carroll. Okay, I got it right? All right, awesome. Well, they're from Movieguide. Okay, Ted Baehr is the father, and this is the daughter, Evy Baehr, and the husband, Jeremy, who does all the behind the scenes for the company. So we have them today. We're going to interview them today, and I hope you guys enjoy. Here is Jeremy and Evy. Okay, so we have Evy and Jeremy. We're going to ask the first question. Let's go back to how they met as a couple, and then we'll talk about the movie guide. But first, let's talk about them as a couple. They are a newlywed couple. So for all the young people out there, we want to give them some encouragement on what it is to be a newlywed in Christ. And first off, we have Evy.
Hey guys, excited to be here with you. Being a newlywed is awesome. We don't know why we waited so long. Once you get married, you kind of realize that all the pressure is kind of off, and you guys are on the same page. God brought me the exact right guy for me. I had actually been in Los Angeles and that's where I'm from, and so I had a lot of dates. People were trying to date me and stuff, and so I knew what the wrong guy was for me, and I knew I'd go on like one date or whatever, and so I was just waiting for Jeremy, and the funny thing was, this is so funny, so he literally walked in my office and asked for a job interview. So he worked with us. My dad started the organization we work for, and the funny thing is my dad interviewed Jeremy the first day. And so this is a whole nother level of like father meeting. So he interviewed him, Jeremy got the job, and then we were working together for about 3 months before we started dating. But how it really worked is that we got to go to like events. What we do is we go to premieres, and Jeremy does the video work, and he then edits it, and so I'm the one on camera. So we go to premieres, and it would take time to get there, and we would be in the car, just the two of us, and we'd be talking. So it really came about by having a friendship and getting to know each other and learning that we really related on all like major issues before we even started dating. So Jeremy can tell from his side.
Well, to add to that story, I first saw Evy in a photo on Instagram that a friend of mine had taken while she was working at Movieguide. At the time, I was at the Hollywood Reporter doing video for them, and I texted my friend. I said, "Oh, well, you're working in movies now? What's Movieguide? What is this? And who are you with?" And she's like, "Oh, that's Evy Baehr, the owner's daughter, and this is Movieguide. It's this Christian organization that's kind of like an advocacy group in Hollywood and wants to help, make Hollywood make better films geared for families and for faith." And so I said, "Wow, that sounds a lot better than doing Bella Thorne fashion videos and gossip videos at the Hollywood Reporter." So I immediately jumped on board and tried to get an interview, and finally got an interview. I raced up to Camarillo from Orange County over a weekend, I think it was, and then I actually got the job, and Evy and I were working together, and then we would be sitting in that traffic for hours and hours trying to get to red carpet events, and that's when the love started.
But really, the love started when you saw my picture, right?
Well, that's true. That was the motivator.
It's always that Instagram, huh? Okay, next question. Evy, you grew up around Hollywood, around films with your father, being a critique. How was that like?
Well, it's so funny because I grew up, like you're saying, in Hollywood. So from a young age, I got to go to movie premieres with my dad and movie screenings pretty early on before the movie came out. And I first, because it was my dad's job, I didn't really want to do it because I was like, well, this is my dad's thing. I'm the youngest child, so I always wanted to be independent and do my own thing and get out of Hollywood. and most people are coming to Hollywood to be in Hollywood. But my parents were like, after college, they're like, oh, can you come work for us? And I said, okay, I'll come for a year because, I want to go, do this other stuff or whatever. I kind of wanted to live internationally, actually, and do missions internationally. And then I just loved it. I loved what was going on. I figured out my niche in the Movieguide office that I was really good at, my role. And so I ended up loving it. And, I wanted to do missions internationally, and so it's like we're doing missions in Hollywood where we're trying to reach the people in Hollywood, and their messages that they're putting out there are really reaching the world. Like anywhere you go in the world, like they've heard of Captain America. Like I don't think I've been to a place that's never heard of Captain America or Marvel. And I've been to some pretty crazy places, Central Asia and Morocco and stuff like that. So it is, if we impact the culture in Hollywood, then we can impact the world. So, yeah.
Awesome. And you guys travel as a team. And what was the most memorable experience so far?
Okay, then I'm going to defer to you. Top five.
Maybe you go first.
Well, should we talk about an interview we had or anything?
With Andrew Garfield going overtime for you.
Yeah. But I want to talk about something that we did together.
What did we do?
So we've gotten to travel a little bit together, which is really cool. Something that I've gotten to do personally is I brought it up in the last answer, but they actually fly me places to go to set visits. And so I actually got to go to Morocco for a set visit, and it was with National Geographic. And they, before I started working for Movieguide, I was like, oh, that'd be cool to work for National Geographic. And so then I actually got to take part in being with them in National Geographic, but in a different capacity, right? Because I was still working for Movieguide. And so it was really cool. And they were filming a TV show that they had put out. It was one of their first dramas that they've done called Killing Jesus. And that's really a cool opportunity to get, flown internationally for these movie sets. It's very rare to get. So, yeah, do you remember one with us specifically, or?
Well, I don't really get to travel as much as Evy since she's the host. I'm usually behind the desk editing away.
He sounds bitter.
Well, we travel more now that we're married within the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So obviously that makes it easier. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've had a few adventures and stuff. It's been fun. I'm not trying to think of anything specific with Movieguide, but I think there's a lot yet to come. So.
Have you been starstruck yet?
So I do about 100 plus interviews a year, and it was a little, I'll have to admit that I have been starstruck. I was a little starstruck when I met Angelina Jolie, just because I thought she was, you see pictures of her, she's very composed, she's like very put together. I thought she was kind of gonna be not too friendly, and so I walked into the room because these interviews are one-on-one, so it's just me and the celebrity. So I walk in the room, and I'm a little nervous, and she's just smiling, and she's wearing all white, and she's like, her demeanor is very open. You know how you can tell how people are sitting and stuff, and so she just smiled the entire time. We even talked before the camera started rolling, and how the interviews work is there's a camera on you, and there's a camera on the celebrity. And she was talking throughout. I think we went over the time that I was allowed to talk to her. And so that was really cool. And so I think, sometimes it's really cool because you think about it like I may go into something and I'll get a little nervous before, which I think is a good thing. Like they say people get nervous on stage and everything, which is good because that means you like really care. But I think God like really gives you kind of peace to be able to talk to people or say things that, that you wouldn't usually say in a conversation to try to talk, because my whole goal is I want to impart faith to them and I want to talk to them about God. And so I think afterwards, sometimes after the interviews, I'll be like, well, what did I really say? Like, I got to look it over, because I think really, God helps me through it. The Holy Spirit speaks through me. So
Have you had any experiences where you say, man, I totally messed up?
I don't know if I've had an experience that I've totally messed up, but I have had a very embarrassing moment. So my first interview, this is really funny, because like you had said, like I grew up with my dad who had done the same kind of thing as me. He used to do all the interviews with the celebrities, and we were at a Princess Diaries interview day, and I walk into the room. My dad, I was just 15 or 14, like I was in high school still. And so I walk into the room, because I was just driving my dad. Like I was practicing. I must have been 15 because I was practicing driving. And so I walk into the room where the interview's happening, and my dad's like, okay, you do it now. Because this interviewee is like, she's close to your age. And I had just seen him do the interviews, and he is like total natural. Like my dad can talk to anyone about anything. Like he doesn't have any notes when he sits there. He just does it off the cuff. And so I was like, I never had training for this. Like, how am I going to do this? And I just saw someone who's totally natural. Like they don't even know, they didn't even need to train me or whatever. But then I walk in the room, and it's Anne Hathaway. And I sit down in my chair, and she looks at me, and she's like, wow, you're young. Like you look really nervous. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, I'm nervous. And the moment someone says you look nervous, like, people know you're nervous. Like,
it only makes it worse.
It makes it worse. So I actually just got out a couple questions, but then it was kind of awkward, I'm telling you. And I left the interview early, and you're never supposed to do that. So I've actually got to talk to her since that interview, and I think I redeemed the situation, but that was pretty awkward and funny. And I probably messed up a little bit on that one, but I'm not going to show that interview to anyone, so you won't find it anywhere.
Cool. Okay, we're short on time, so give us some hope for Hollywood. Is there hope with all what's going on, everything you're seeing going on? Do you think there's hope?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of hope for Hollywood. Movieguide started about 30 years ago, and when they first started, like I said, it was my dad. There was only one movie with positive moral worldview, and all the other movies were R-rated movies in the top 10. And now this year, how many movies is? It's 9 out of 10 are family-friendly Christian content movies. So that's an incredible jump, and we're definitely seeing a huge impact in Hollywood. And it's really the relationships we built over that time, because Hollywood is very much about relationships and people getting to know you. And it takes a lot of time, but it's I think there's a lot of hope there, and we're seeing people come to Christ through our ministry specifically a lot, and we're just trying to fight the fight. Do you have something to add, or?
Well, and I feel like we've gotten to the point where instead of us constantly trying to pursue the studios, they're approaching us now. Yeah. And they're asking us how to do church scenes, how to do these kind of scenes, because they're putting more and more of this content into their films to reach those broad audiences. And it's just kind of amazing that now, like, the tides have turned in a way, and now it's kind of like Hollywood's seeking, professional advice on how to make a great Christian-inspired film, which is just amazing. So.
Yeah, like we have a bunch of great movies coming out that are Christian movies, like Case for Christ is coming out in March. All Saints is another Christian movie. There's a movie coming out. The Star's coming out on Christmas. There's a lot of great stuff. So if you go to our website, actually, you'll be able to get up to date on what movies are going to come out that, won't, when you go into the theater, you'll really enjoy it. They won't offend your moral values, and you can enjoy it with your family. And so it's awesome to see that kind of boom in Hollywood.
What's the future for Movie Guide? For this year, for the future 10 years from now, 20 years from now, where do you see the Movie Guide? And where do you see yourselves as a couple in 10 years, 20 years?
Well, in 10 to 20 years, we're going to be old. No, I'm just kidding. We'll probably have a billion children. I'm just kidding. We just hope Movie Guide grows and grows. We want to reach more of Hollywood. I think we're on a good path right now on growing, and we're excited to see what the future holds in Hollywood. And, yeah, would you like to add?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably be parents. No, it's going to be awesome. And then, yeah, lots of kids. That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. But for Movie Guide, I think with Movie Guide, yeah, we're on a new trajectory with streaming and new internet, outlets and things. And I think that's a huge mission field in and of itself that we're really starting to dive headfirst into. So I think full saturation of the Hollywood community with our kind of content, trying to help people to continue to make these films and help these films do well at the box office so that they keep being made. It's really important for us. So I think that's the continuing mission of Movie Guide over the next few years.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jeremy and Evelyn. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Jonathan Matamoros. You watched an interview with Movie Guide, producers, hosts, directors, camera, editing, sound, everything, right? Movie Guide, check it out, movieguide.org, and you can find out more about their company, what they're doing, and of course you can watch it right here on True Television. My name is Jonathan Matamoros. Thank you for watching today.